Welcome back, everybody. This is Fausto from the Cybertrading University, and we are back with Marina from the Trader's Chick. Looking forward to having her back on. We had her about a while back, and got a really good response. Everybody wanted to hear from her, and I want to see what she's been going on. Now we're back into the new year of the market. I've got a new presidency just came in. Got inauguration was yesterday. Couple interesting things came out. I was kind of shocked. I was really looking forward to see what he was going to come out with, some of the executive orders, but nothing really surprising other than that he came out with his own Bitcoin, which is pretty funny. I love to see what Marina has to say about that. But how you been doing, Marina? How's been things going?
I've been good, and Happy New Year. Thanks
Yeah,
for having me back.
yeah, same things to you. How's everything up in Spain over there?
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, Barcelona it's beautiful here. I love it.
What is the time zone difference? Was it 5 or 6 hours?
6.
It's
5
6
p.m. right
hours.
now.
It's
Yeah.
5 o'clock for you right now?
Yeah.
So how do you work that? Because we get a lot of people from all over the world. I mean, and the market obviously here opens up at 9:30, and then it closes at 4 Eastern time. So what are the times for you as the open and close?
Well, I prefer just to be in the market less than an hour per day. I'm not one to sit in front of my charts. Yeah.
Yeah,
So for me, it's really great. I mean, the market opens around 2:30.
for you.
And around 3:30 is when it really starts to move past, like I call it the amateur hour. But then I just enjoy that when I can. And if I can't do it in the morning, I go into the afternoon because it depends on what's happening in the day. Because usually, second part of the day. And school goes here. My youngest son goes to school until 5 p.m. So he's literally just getting out. So I have all this free time as well.
Okay. Is that when
Yes.
you have time to teach your students and stuff like that, and all you traders?
Yeah. So I have a lot of time for that. But I have so many other things that I enjoy doing, and I'm past the point of sitting in front of the charts. I have a lot of other projects and exercising, going out with friends. Yeah.
Oh, all right. So what do you do on your off time now? I mean, like you said, like, listen, a lot of people like this job as a trader and they don't realize that you got to have a second life. You know what I mean? Because it's not a full-time job. I try to tell everyone, you got to get away. Otherwise, you're just going to be churning all the time. You're just going to get in and out of stocks. And it's been, I was just like, we were just talking earlier before we jumped on. It's been other than like when the market took off and you were just talking about Tesla had a good run. It's still in the 400s where it was at 250. Other than that, it's like I don't know. It's been fine. It's very choppy. The market. Like I was up. I had the money that I made from November, to October, because that's usually a good time of the year. I kind of gave back around 40% of that profit. I'm still up like 60% on that profit, but I really gave up a lot. And I feel like I'm chasing. What have you been seeing?
Well, I think up to the actual presidency, it's been obviously a massive rally with crypto. I think crypto's been getting more of the spotlight. And I believe that's simply because of all the changes that are happening overall with Meta taking away their privacy standards, that they're not going to be screening for fake news anymore. Elon Musk, I mean, come on, the guy is really into controversy and free speech. So that plays really well with crypto. So, and, obviously the Trump, even Melania, I think, has her own meme
Yeah.
coin at this point. So it's just, I think it's more of a hype. I don't know if this is an analogy that is good for this, but regardless, many years ago when I was, I don't know, like 25 years ago, maybe more at this point, Marilyn Manson, he was a pretty well-known artist, singer. I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
Mhm.
He's brilliant, but he just really played to the crowd. Anyways, one of my closest friends was obsessed with him, and we went to see him. And he's just really crazy. And his stage had this huge sign in the background, and it said drugs, drugs, and it was just so cliche because he's so different. And I feel like that's what's happening with crypto right now. It's so cliche, and everybody's going for that hype right now. I think it's going to probably die down, maybe not, maybe we'll hang out, but I felt like it was just like playing to the crowd. They don't really care, but they're like, you know what, let's just do it. It feels like the cool thing to do right now. Does that make sense? I don't know if that
No, it
analogy.
does. I mean, I was the same exact way. I mean, I'm not a
Yeah.
big fan of crypto at all. Just recently, once I knew they came out the ETFs and now they came out the options, now I know it's here to stay. But now I feel like you got one. It's called Fartcoin that came out that did unbelievable. It's up 10,000%. Just came out. I mean, now I'm starting to feel like everyone's starting to come out these cryptos. Okay.
Yes.
And it's just like, and now it's a little bit easier to get access to them because of Robinhood and Coinbase, some of those accounts, stuff like that. So I think we're starting to get into that, extreme crazy penny stock type of thing. It's not like when
Yeah.
Bitcoin originally came out. So I'm not a huge fan of it also as of right now. But like I said, like who knew that Melania Trump was going to come out with a Bitcoin
I
President
think
Trump was
she
coming.
didn't even know.
I mean,
I'm sure somebody's doing it for her.
yeah, I mean, it's just that they can make. And I don't know. I can't. Listen. There's a lot more than just that. I mean, and also the other big news too is what happened with TikTok too. I mean, TikTok got shut down. It opened
For
back
like
up
an
again.
hour.
Yeah, it got shut down.
It's
Got
like
opened
an
back up.
hour. It's
I'll
so
tell you, I don't
stupid.
know about you, but I was dying to see all these kids like freaking out, like like I tell you, it's like you talk about drugs. That is a drug. Like social
Yes,
mean is a big drug.
it
And I
is a
mean, you
drug.
take that stuff away from these kids. I mean, they're like, oh my god. I mean, some people
Yeah.
have businesses on there too. So I'm really
Yeah.
curious how that's going to end up. I don't know if you heard President Trump yesterday. Probably was a little past your time because he was talking more at nighttime, but he was saying like he thinks it's worth like $1 trillion, the company. And he thinks like the government, United States should take at least about half of that, 500 billion, to sell it. Otherwise, it's worthless. So he's like, it's something or it's worthless. So if they shut it down, because it's all basically very popular in the United States. So I'm really curious what's going to happen with that. But unfortunately, it's not a tradable stock. I thought Meta was going to benefit from it, but it didn't.
Yeah, well, it was just such a quick thing. I think Instagram was like ready. They made all these changes. It's all I feel like it's all manipulated, you
Yeah,
know? So
yeah. It's
it's so out of our control. I don't even know who's manipulating it, For
so
all
how do
we
you
know,
deal with
yeah,
that?
I don't know.
So how do you deal with the manipulation? I mean, like, listen, I always tell everyone, you just got to know how to play the game. How do you work it when you teach your
Well, I'll
students?
be very honest with you. TikTok wasn't taken down in Spain.
Yeah.
Didn't even change the scope of anything here at all.
Okay.
At all. And like I know the cap cut was affected, nothing at all.
Nothing.
So yeah, sometimes it's really nice not to be, in front of the news. I don't even listen to the news. I don't even care. So yeah, in my world, it wasn't even a glitch. It was more of like a farce.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how that's going to work out. He put like a moratorium on it for like a stay for like 45 days. See how that works out. But regarding about your trading, I mean, we had since your last time. Anything you've encountered with your students a little bit different? Anything been going on? You've been adapting to anything different now that we're going into a new 2025?
Well, I'll be honest with you, I've been fielding them off from jumping into crypto. All I get is like crypto, crypto, crypto. And people still have to understand that, well, crypto it's so erratic, right? Right now, it's a massive hype on it, and it's just difficult to gauge what's correct, what's not. And I keep on telling people to bring it back down to, the strategy. You still, just because there's this Formula One car that's, you could hop into doesn't mean that you don't know. You still need to know how to turn it on, how to put the gears on, how to put your seatbelts on, right? You still have to have that system. And that's really what I've been constantly, everybody's like so hyped about the whole crypto thing at the moment. And the most important thing is I tell them, if you're going to go for it, I mean, it's great. I think it's fun. Just don't leverage, don't leverage it, which I find like that's where the majority of the people really lose their money is the leverage.
And why is that?
Because I mean, I don't know if you watched crypto. I definitely I was very into crypto. I spent a lot of time in it, and I'm sure you heard of the whole FTX craziness, right?
Right.
Like, so I had a lot there. There's so much in crypto, right? There's staking, then there's all these different companies that were actually credible companies that were loaning money. So BlockFi, I don't know if you ever heard of BlockFi, was one of the companies that was very affected by FTX. And oh God, I had a lot of Bitcoin and a lot of ETH in there with them. And they were one of the companies affected and went bankrupt. So basically, all the assets that everybody who was with BlockFi ended up losing. So BlockFi, I have to give them credit. 2 years later, they got us. They didn't get us all the assets back. They got us with the initial invest, like what I came in with initially, right? Which was 3 years ago. Regardless, I got the amount of money back. So I actually took a massive step back while I was waiting for that, because it was kind of like an open sore. It wasn't my fault because I did my job. Like, I knew that I BlockFi, but they weren't transparent that they were part of the FTX, right? Until obviously it was too late. Anyway, when I was involved in crypto and really learning it, there are moments where Bitcoin, so crypto is obviously, there's thousands upon thousands of altcoins and
Right.
projects. So I was mainly with Sol, Monero, ADA. I still have a lot in ADA. That never really went off. ETH, and let's say Bitcoin, like the bigger ones, like the more known ones. There are moments where it was going like this. It could literally go 1000% up or down, right?
Hmm.
And if you are leveraging, that split second will not only
Yeah.
stop that, because you can leverage between 100 to 1,000, right?
Right.
So you can't avoid that. It's like a static, right? It's like, and within seconds, it's back on track. But those seconds could wipe you out. I've never leveraged, but I have seen many of my friends who were, attempting to leverage. And yeah, you could also get it on the up, but the majority of the times you get stopped out before it goes up.
Hmm.
So that's why I just really, if you're going to play, just play with the money you have, right?
Right.
Don't play with this obscene amount of, it's kind of like, it's just being on cocaine, basically, like jacked up
Yeah.
on coke, the
Yeah.
crypto market. It's just so up there. So anyways, if you are like, whomever is going to do it, I really recommend you understand what the charts are saying, and then just don't leverage. Leverage literally means, margin, like you are borrowing money from your
Yeah,
exchange.
that happened a lot. I remember back in the day, Forex is pretty popular with that. I remember Forex, you could
Mm,
leverage like 100 times, and people just like, you open up these mini accounts for $500. And then I had to go teach a whole lesson, tell people like, well, do you know how Forex companies really make money? With the pips and everything like that. I mean, they were really making a fortune. I mean, and they were also trading against you too. They were
yes.
leveraging
Oh,
themselves
usually.
to know that, but once it went against them, then obviously it bought back the stock. But usually that's one of the big things they do. But yeah, it's good. And I know we have a lot of people here that probably were nervous about crypto, but I know it's been coming up a lot more and more. I just thought it was pretty interesting that Trump and Melania came out with their own crypto. But going back into this new year now, what are you looking into? I mean, in Spain, I mean, do they care about who the president is right now? I mean, I heard that even he was making a comment regarding about that Spain was trying to get into the BRICS. I don't know if you know the BRICS, like trying to get out of the dollar, and try to be part of the BRICS, which is another exchange. He was also thinking about even like tariffing you guys almost 50, 100% if you guys do that. I don't know if you heard about that. Um, which is, but have they said anything in Spain and about the new president yet, or you haven't really paying attention? Well, they don't even care.
I mean, people know it. So Spain is, I don't know if the majority. Yeah, I pretty much know the majority of Spain. I did. Yeah, the people here, we always joke around that they just can't be bothered with so much. Money is not their driving force, which is really refreshing. Like, they have their 2 3 hour siestas, and I mean, we're talking in the cities from 1:30 to 4:30 to 5:30, stores are closed.
It's a
Closed.
European thing. I know from Italy they do the same stuff.
Oh my goodness. And it's refreshing. But for some reason, there's a lot of Italians here. They're like, oh, Italy is just so stressed, I can't live that kind of life. Like, their business. And here, though, they're not.
Yeah.
You'll find them drinking their cafes, having a wine in the day, having tapas. And when I first arrived here, I mean, I haven't lived in the States now for 22 years either, but I did live in Guatemala for 20 years, well, in Central America for 20 years. They still had that mentality kind of, dripping from the States. The banks were open, at least until 5, 6 p.m. Here, the banks close, I think, by like 11 or 2 p.m. It's just, it's a really lovely lifestyle. And
Okay.
I personally recommend it to everyone. It is not money hungry. You just don't know who even has money. So it's a humble society on top of that. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah, it is
I,
a little bit different here, though.
oh, it's so
Everyone's money
different.
hungry in the United States.
Yeah, and so this joke is, in the States you live to work, and here we just wait. You work to live. Sorry, right? In the States is you work to live,
You work to
and
live.
here is you live. I don't know. I can't think of it right now, but you get my drift, right? So it's something like, yeah, like I saw the first time yesterday, limo for the
Oh,
first
wow.
time, and it was so out of place that it wasn't even able to turn properly. Like, and in the States, I grew up in New York, and it's just so like it's a
It's fast.
different
It really is fast here. It's
it's
a
a
totally.
different lifestyle, and I've adapted to it very well.
Well, you know what? And that's a
Beautiful.
good way of explaining it a little bit more, even like your trading style. Like everybody here, like some people could relate to something that's very fast, and like I have students that say, you know what, so, it's a little too stressful for me, and they have to take a step back and like, I want to go back to that. And that's how you just learn as a trader, like
Oh yeah.
you find a lifestyle that works for you because some stocks are a hell of a lot faster that trade a lot quicker. And like when I teach my students, we talk a little bit about like level 4, level 3, like it's just too volatile. You know what I mean? So, and that's why it's always nice to, hear something refreshing from you. You kind of found it. You hear we're talking about trading, but here you're talking about living and it's the same thing, it's all relative.
Oh, it
But,
is.
yeah.
100%. And I always tell people, like, you bring yourself to the charts, you know,
What charts
and
do you use, by the way? Like, well, what are you looking at? When you go into the chart, what are you looking for?
so my charts are, I only have one chart. And the day trading, I mainly focus on the e-minis and the other, I guess equities mainly. Yeah. And crypto, like I was a hodler, obviously. I don't know if you know what a hodler means, hold on for dear life. So I was, and I actually made it through the whole BlockFi debacle. There was moments because I had a decent amount, but I got it back, whatever, whatnot. Now it's finally growing again and getting
Mhm.
there. Um, so with crypto, I am just now starting to get back into it because I also was
You think
traveling.
it's
I
going up
literally
right
just
now?
came
You think
back.
it's like, how do you feel about it? You think it's gonna go up? What are you hearing about it? Or what do you
So I
see?
think right now crypto is not the time to get in. I want to give it a little time for the dust to settle. It's just too much hype going on with the presidency and all of that. I'm gonna give it some time before I start to look to what I want to actually get in like hold, and then I'm gonna see what I want to play with. I literally just got back. We were traveling. We were in Andorra, so I don't like to get into anything while I'm traveling. I like to sit down and really learn what's in front of me
That's good
before
advice.
I start to
I
do that.
tell everyone that. You wanna just if it goes up, the mark goes up, you're better off you'll be more, relaxed if it goes up. You'll be extremely depressed if you're away and worry about and on your
Yeah, it's
vacation.
not worth it for me. So now I'm back. Um, I'm back for a few weeks. I'm gonna go to Malta soon. So for me, it's yeah, basically I'm just looking to see where the crypto market is gonna go, and I'm gonna start to, and then I have some money to play with.
Are
I
you are
also
you strictly focusing more on crypto or more equities
no,
or
no. I think I've done my due diligence. I'd like to just focus on my day trading that I do, and that I don't need to work to do any news or anything because I just watch the technical analysis. And like I said, I have one chart, I have two indicators. I'm very simple when it comes to it. I love watching the divergences and reversal patterns. I'm also a scalper. So scalping for me actually feels less stressful because I used to want to hold on for much higher targets, and that stressed me out way more than the quick moves because the quick moves I'm in and out. I don't have to stress.
so
I'm not very good with
so
it.
what is a quick move for you for everybody here,
Oh,
like, as they like
the
what
30 seconds to 3 minutes sometimes is, I don't, if it goes past 3 minutes, that's when I start to worry.
so you just
um,
so you basically you're scalping like
yeah,
in and out.
I'm
And
in
how
and
much
out. 1 point. Usually I go for 1 point. The contracts is the ones that I could play with more. If I go with, so 1 point is $50. So if I have 10, it's 500. I could play with the contracts, but the 1 point, it's quick
Are
and
you
it
day
doesn't
trading
use up.
options or are you day trading the stock?
No, just the e-minis.
Just the E-minis. Okay, just the E-minis. So you just
Yeah.
basically get in and out of it.
Yeah.
So
In
would
and out.
what'd you think about today? Did you do
I
anything
didn't
today?
go in today.
Today, yeah.
I
It's
didn't. Today is the first time I opened up my, yeah, basically I started around 2:33 and then I was getting ready for you. And anyways, there was things going on in the house because we literally just got back from Andorra. So I wasn't, and
yeah,
yesterday
you
was
need
a
a day
day
to get
off.
your head back into it. Like even like after the election, like I was really looking forward that I thought I was going to probably hear a little more action on some executive orders that President Trump was going to sign, but he really didn't. I think it's going to start kicking the next couple of days. So, and then it was the market was closed yesterday, and
Yeah.
usually you want to like let things kind of fear out. I mean, flatten out a little bit as of right now. I mean, like the Dow's up. Well, Dow's up a lot actually. It's up by 400. So we just started making a big move right here. Um, yeah, I
There you
mean,
go.
like,
Yeah, it's going to be for lunch. Maybe the lunch session. I mean, the afternoon session will be a
yeah,
good one.
Bitcoin made a little bit of a pop too. It looks like yeah, a couple of stocks made some big moves. Um, yeah, I mean, it's like well, just got to basically got to keep an eye in here what's going on. So regarding about your to do list, because I think that people like to hear. I know you have a really good to do list that's and on your daily. So when you get in the morning, as a day trader, like, so what is your routine? Like, what do you teach your students that your routine should be that works for you?
So I'm not a big believer in, I call amateur hours. So when the market opens 9:30, I know some people love to trade open and close. I am the exact opposite. I feel like it's a lot of people just hopping in without any thought, right? They're just, I gotta
Okay.
get in. So for me, I like to, if I'm doing the morning session, open up my charts. I have to see if there's going to be any like news that could affect it. If there's news, I don't even bother because news could go either way. You never can predict. So I like it when it's calm, there's no news, and give it some time. I give at least 5 minutes of fully looking at the chart. And if the chart is kind of going back and forth, if it's sideways, I don't touch it. It's when the really beautiful flow, and it does, there's beautiful momentum that could happen. That's when I start to really look for the trades. And yeah, you need to draw on your charts. That's a really important thing. I always say when you get into whatever instrument you are trading, you are always going to look to the left. And if your chart is blank, if you don't have your resistance areas, if you don't have whatever it is that you are following, it's not there, you're not going to know why you entered in the first place. And that's when you're already, stressed out, because when you put your money on the line, our adrenaline goes up. It's natural, right?
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
you want to protect yourself. You want to know why you entered it. There's so many people like, oh, I wish it would go up. Like, what's your strategy? So I like to have everything drawn out. Sometimes there'll be like a trade that looks like it's good to go, but I'm not fully prepared. I don't chase trades anymore. Like I don't, well, anymore. When I used to always do badly with it.
So you put limit
So,
orders, and that's the price you get. If you get it, you like the hell with it. I'm not interested.
well, I always, so, sometimes you could go to the bathroom and you come back and there was this like good trade that you think, but that's a emotional sense, right?
Mhm.
So no, I always put in an order waiting. I don't do market anymore. Like, especially for trading, you lose so much money on slippage. Um, so no, and if it doesn't fill me at my price point, guess what? There's going to be like 1,000 other great trades coming. So
Right, right.
I'm not really worried.
Well, I mean, people ask this all the time. So, well, I mean, especially you being overseas, what broker are you dealing with? I mean, using
Oh, no,
multiple.
I'm 100% US. You could
That,
live and do anywhere.
what, what,
Yeah.
what broker are you trading with?
So I've been trading for a long time. So I got in with Ninja Trader when AMP Futures was
No,
the
yeah, it's way back.
broker. And I'm just grandfathered in. Nobody could, like, they've been separated from them, but they've been giving me really good rates. I'm grandfathered in. I don't, if it's not broken, why fix it?
No, yeah, yeah,
So, but I'm sure 100% that Ninja now, if you guys go in, they have their own broker.
yeah, they
Um,
do.
it's a very different strategy. It's a different business model, I should say. I shouldn't say strategy, business model. Um, so yeah, but I'm 100% US. There's nothing that's European
I
or
think
what else that
everything is
means Central
U.S.
America.
Yeah, I think every Europe when Europe jumps on the U.S. It's not really too many quality, overseas other than U.S. brokers, right? Would you say?
Well,
Yeah.
I need to be either like a permanent resident or a citizen to be with international brokers. And since
Okay.
I'm a US citizen only, I don't really have those options
Did you?
regardless.
I meant to ask you this. Did you ever look into international brokers? How do you relate them to U.S. brokers? Are they better? Are they more expensive? Or just, I mean, not being
It
biased,
depends, right? And it depends on the market you're trading.
right?
Yeah, it really, really, really depends. If you're trading, for instance, if I'm Spanish and then I trade the Spanish exchange, obviously I'll be working with the Spanish broker with their commissions. But if I'm Spanish and want to work with the US, it's a whole other thing, right? It becomes much more complicated. So it will depend but what I like about the futures market, it's an international market, even though the E-mini is obviously following the S&P.
Right.
Um, but I find that that it's much more of an international market, and you could work with U.S. brokers as an international citizen. Well,
Okay.
obviously,
Right.
whatever other country you're in.
So,
Yeah.
when you teach your students, are you? I mean, like I always try to explain it to listen. There's so many brokers out there, so some brokers are better than others, depending on what you do. I mean, I know
Right.
Ninja Trader. We do a lot of. We're endorsed by them too. I've been with them, for almost 20 years. I've done with them, but like I listen, it all depends. If you're more of a options trader, stock trader, futures trader, some are better than others. I mean, don't get caught up on like, oh, my broker does everything, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? So is the
No, they
diner.
don't.
The
They
diner,
don't.
you can eat anything at a diner, but
Yeah, the
I'm not
diner,
going there
exactly.
getting, I'm not getting linguine and clams at the
Yeah,
diner. You know what
exactly.
I mean? But
Absolutely.
yeah, that goes there. So,
Yeah.
regarding about your students, any good stories going on with with any of the students? Or are they
Um,
pretty much beginning to keep stick?
it's the same stories. Like there's going to be the people that commit. The ones that commit, they're the ones that see the difference. The ones that are desperate for the money will never happen. And the ones that come to me with huge losses, they need to understand that they need to be in simulation to be able to get out of that mind frame first. But I've seen the ones that actually come to the mind, the ones that I have the best, I guess, I don't want to say luck because it's not about luck. The best results are the ones that come in knowing I need to learn first before I could go live. And what's interesting, I always find, is that women are much more risk averse. And men, for instance, because again, the majority of the people that come to me also like to work with e-minis. And women start with the one contract when they're ready to go live. Men, boom, 10, 15, 20 contracts, And a lot of times they're not very ready. And it's always a interesting way to see that, how, we think about it. We're much more thoughtful behind that. And
More
a lot of
disciplined.
men.
I always find women a little more disciplined. I agree. I've trained a lot of women, and women are a little bit more careful and more the responsible. Men are a little bit more cowboys, whatever. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it
Right.
takes longer for women to succeed, faster for men. But yeah, sometimes a woman can admit when she can get out of it, and a man will be like, yeah, you know what, he'll come back and stuff like that. Yeah, that's why you know that's why we're totally two different people.
Oh, yeah, we are. My husband always says we're two different species that can
Very
mate.
much. Exactly. So, anyone that you would like, you ever teach someone, ever come up like, you know what, I really can't help you. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like you ever turn somebody away because you know
Yes,
you have.
absolutely. They're the
And,
ones that want me to do the work for them. They want to
okay,
come to my trading room. Which one should what trade should I be taking? I'm like, it's not about what trade you should be taking. It's what trade you are seeing and understanding. Oh yeah, the ones that they want it yesterday and they want me to do it for them. And if you don't do it for them, I thought that and the ones that also don't realize that you're not going to take 100 trades a day. You need to pace yourself. And I always compare big game hunters to pro traders, or pro traders to big game hunters. The big game hunters, they go out there in the field and they have the patience for the big game, right?
Yeah,
And
wait
the
for it to
pro
come.
traders, what's that?
You have to wait until the right one comes. You could shoot anything,
Yes.
like squirrel can come by, you're going for the lion. What are you doing?
Exactly. You're not going to waste that energy, and it is energy on focusing. So by the time, and we are not full of energy. We're like, a cell phone battery. We start to lose that energy. So you need to save it.
So how do you get
So,
rid of it? What do you tell them?
I work, well, a lot of people are like, "Oh, you're so disciplined." And I'm like, "It's not discipline. Like when you get in a car, the strategy, and people don't understand that, but there's a strategy when you drive. We understand that when there's a red light, that's the strategy of telling you you can't drive, because there's a chance that if you do, you're going to be pulled over, you're going to run over somebody, somebody's going to run over you. It's a strategy. It's the same thing when you're trading. There are red lights on the chart, and there's green lights. So when you learn those, everything changes. And a lot of people just don't want to learn.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's the problem.
and I'm the same way. I see people that want to just they want you to do it for them. They want you to tell you what to buy and sell. And I tell them, listen, first of all, it's illegal. You can't do that unless you're licensed. And
Yes.
two, it doesn't make you money. You got to hit the button at the end of the day. You need to know why you're getting into these positions. So I always find that has always been an issue. But you know what? At least you went out there and you try and you see it. And sometimes they don't like what they hear, and that's good. So I'm glad that listen. Have you been doing this? How long have you been doing this for? The teaching?
I've been, well, teaching, I don't know, 8 years maybe.
8 years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, for doing it for 8 years, you also learn how to be a good teacher because, you kind of like, I guess you see uh, who needs help, who doesn't need help, and you tell them. But at least everybody goes out there and you kind of like educate yourself a little bit more that you got to learn a little bit from everybody and just be patient. You know what I mean? But I think that's the biggest issue. A lot of people stay patient. They want the money like yesterday.
Oh, they want it yesterday.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Like, I've seen people that done great in this industry and done killed it. And then they're like, okay, great. Then why is it an 80% failure rate? 90% failure rate, just talk to the people that lost money doing it. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
so some people just get lucky into it, but the ones that are very good at it, like what we've been doing, it's the ones that don't make a lot, but we don't lose a lot. It's just being very
Yeah.
consistent. That's really
Well,
it.
I always say, it's the small wins are the ones that will keep you consistent and give this to you as a livelihood, versus those massive wins. But what you don't hear about those massive losses, which usually happen because they're aggressive, non-strategic moves.
Oh, let me tell you, I had a trade the other day, Marina. I was trading some of the quantum stocks, and I started chasing one of them. I was on Rigetti, and the stock went from like $1 to 20. It went to $20. I mean, and then all of a sudden, Nvidia, the CEO, came out and put a kibosh on all of them. It crashed. I was in about like 1950 because I thought this one was really taking off. The news was great on it, and even though I was chasing it on a swing trade, and then all of a sudden, I'm like you just said earlier, it just wasn't feeling right. It just started like trending down. It started making higher lows and so on. I got out of it. Next day, it went down to $8. So I mean, like,
You were smart.
yeah, I took a loss. Like I took a 50-cent loss on it. I'm
Okay.
like, you know what? Like you just said, if it's not going your way on the short, it's not on that right trend, get out. And you know what? I would have took a big nasty hit. You know what I mean? And it really sucks to take a big hit because it takes a
Ah,
lot to make it back. You know,
mentally, more
mentally,
so
yeah.
mentally, I think, than anything else.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
because what happens, you don't want to take the small little winners. You're like, oh, I can't take that winner. I got to make up for that big loss. And that's how you dig yourself deeper and deeper and
Yeah,
deeper in the
revenge
hole.
trading.
Yeah, yeah, and so on.
Absolutely. Yes. I've been there.
So what is your advice moving on? Any last minute advice you want to give anybody, like your students, before we, going into the new year, or what you've been seeing any different, or what you should be looking out for? I know that I want to share everybody exactly how to find you, and I know you do a lot of coachings and stuff like that, and I mean you're really good at that type of the market. I mean, but any last minute advice you want to give somebody, or what they should be looking for going into this new year?
Well, at the moment, I think that we should kind of see where the market is going to go, right? Because I mean, right now it's all hyped up. It's a new president. There's all this hype, and he is definitely um, a money guy, which we all know that. But eventually, but things are going to smooth out, and then we're going to see what the real market is doing. So right now, I think it's a little bit more of a gamble versus once he starts the presidency. And yeah, I mean, I don't want to say only Trump is dictating the world, but at the moment, this is obviously the biggest splash in the water, right?
Right.
So let the waters calm, and then that's what I'm waiting for, even more so, and then it's going to be just less up and down and of a gamble and that uncertainty, right? Or even that, like those hungry eyes, the greed right now. There's a lot of greed
Any
in the
industry
market.
specifically you're looking at that you favor or want to stay away from?
I really want to go more into the AI ones.
AI.
So not many companies other than like the big ones, Meta, Apple, they're the ones that are focusing a lot openly about AI. So I want to look more into AI is here.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't care if
no,
you love it,
absolutely.
hate it. It is so here and it is taking over. So I want to be able to at least, I might not understand all the movement with AI, but maybe focus on with the stocks, because the companies that are going to be working with AI, I believe are the ones that are going to be really the ones that we should be
Yeah, you
aligned
know,
with.
I totally agree with you. I've been a big fan. I mean, I was showing somebody over just this weekend exactly the power of AI and what you could do it on ChatGTP, and they were just like blown away. Not even thinking of like, it's like a personal assistant and everything. But there are a lot of AI stocks out there, and it did really, really well just recently. And there was just so many of them out there that you find them at big percentage gainers. I'm just like, we're at that level. Like, okay, we passed the hype of AI right now. Who's going to survive? And now, which companies are integrating it? I mean, like, I was
Yeah,
in Palantir. They're an AI. Cybersecurity. You have the drone stocks. I mean, AI goes everywhere. Just now, the
everywhere.
question is, now who's losing their jobs, how that's being replaced, and how's company benefit. So, yeah, I think that's a really industry, hot industry. And I know you also brought the crypto, and I know President Trump is also wants to make U.S. the crypto currency of the world. Like we're the financial capital of the world. So see how that relates. But I think that hype is
That's
a little
because of the taxes.
right, right. Well,
Oh, yeah.
we'll figure
Yeah.
that
So
out.
the crypto exchanges are still in the places where they have a lot of tax breaks.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of
We'll
people don't
see.
know about that yet, but that's gonna be an interesting topic too. All right, so let me post up the link. So if they, Marina, if they wanted to follow you and they want to come and join your room and get into your chat room and see exactly how you trade that, how they go about doing it.
Just everything through my website, thetraderchick.com.
All
It's the
right, no
best
problem.
way.
Okay, there's the link
Yeah.
right there. All right, perfect. All right, Marina. Well, listen, it was great having you, and look forward to having you back again. And it's always been a pleasure talking to you. And like I said, if you see anything, please let us know. All
Thank
right.
you so much. Yeah, it's always fun chatting
All
with you.
right, Marina. Enjoy, and everyone. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you back here next week on the Cyber Trading Expo, and we'll be hosting another big event here with other present. Actually, we got that next month, and then we'll see you in
Yeah.
the next podcast. Thanks everybody for listening. We'll be right back.
Bye, everybody.